The divorce papers came while they lowered my mother's coffin. A man in a suit walked through the cemetery, called my name. He handed me a leather envelope. Didn't wait for thanks. "You bury one thing today," my wife whispered at the graveside. "I'm Daniel Rourke, 42, insurance fraud investigator." Seattle rain had started that morning, light and cold, the kind that soaks through your coat without you noticing. My mother's funeral had 12 people, maybe 15, hard to count with the umbrellas. The priest kept talking about eternal rest, about going home. I wasn't listening anymore. Inside the envelope were divorce papers. Clean white pages, legal letterhead, but that wasn't the worst part. Attached was another document, a formal accusation. Caroline claimed I'd stolen $73,000, 0 cents, from her consulting business. The numbers were exact, detailed, dates, account numbers, transactions, all forgeries. Caroline stood 10 feet away, black dress, no tears. She watched me read. The casket descended on mechanical cables, 6 feet under. I nodded, said nothing. My mother's coffin touched earth. Caroline turned and walked toward the parking area. Her heels clicked on wet concrete. She took my car, the Subaru I'd driven for 3 years, the one with the spare key she'd insisted on keeping. I heard the engine start, watched my taillights disappear down the cemetery road. The priest finished his prayer. People scattered like leaves. I stood there until the groundskeepers came with their shovels. Then I walked. Harbor View Motel was 2 miles from the cemetery. $49, 0 cents a night, pay in advance. The rain followed me the entire way. In the motel room, I spread the papers on a scratch desk. Read every word twice. The divorce papers were notarized 3 days before my mother died. Caroline had planned this timing perfectly. Her business records showed systematic theft over 18 months. My signature on approvals I'd never seen. My phone had 17 missed calls, all from my own house number. Caroline had changed the locks. I ordered Chinese food, kept reading. The accusations were thorough, professional, expensive legal work. Someone had coached her well. At midnight, I sat on the bed with my laptop, opened a browser, searched her business filings. That's when I found the first crack. Her consulting company was registered as a sole proprietorship. Always had been. You can't steal from yourself. But the real discovery came at 2 a.m. A second business entity. Different name. Caroline's maiden name. Same address as our house. This one claimed to be a nonprofit, supporting women in STEM education, federal grant applications, tax-exempt status. My forged signature appeared everywhere. I closed the laptop, turned off the light. Outside, the rain had stopped, but something else had started. I waited 3 days. Cold, calculating. No calls, no contact. Daniel Rourke doesn't act on emotion. The Harbor View Motel became my base, room 237. Far from everything Caroline knew. On Thursday, I drove to my old office building, the insurance company where I'd worked for 8 years, where I'd built a reputation for finding hidden patterns. Security recognized me. "Taking time off, Dan?" "Personal matter." My desk was still there, cleared out, but the building access hadn't been revoked yet. I went to the basement archive, found the old safe. Inside was a backup drive. Every financial record from our marriage, every bank statement, every transaction. I'd learned to keep copies of everything. That afternoon, I called Marla Beck. "Jesus, Dan, I heard about your mother." Marla had been my supervisor for 3 years. Now she ran her own compliance firm downtown. "I need legal help. Corporate fraud case." "Your case?" "Caroline's." Silence on the line. Then, "Come in tomorrow." "Bring everything." Marla's office overlooked Elliott Bay. Glass walls, steel furniture. She poured coffee while I spread the documents. "How long has this been happening?" 18 months, maybe longer." She examined the transfer records. Her face stayed neutral, professional. Your house, both joint accounts, all moved to an LLC. Caroline had done it quietly, one signature at a time. Sunrise Consulting LLC, Marla read. That's her maiden name. The timestamps told the real story. Caroline's QuickBooks software showed transactions happening in 2022, but the metadata revealed the truth. All entries were created 3 weeks ago. She backdated everything, Marla said. Amateur hour. But there was more. Marla pulled up state business filings, found a second entity, Future Leaders Foundation. Same address as your house. My signature appeared on federal grant applications, tax exemption papers, board resolutions, all forgeries. Women in STEM education, Marla read. Federal matching grants. The foundation had received $240,000, 0 cents in government funding. Dan, you're listed as co-director. My stomach dropped. Co-director meant co-liability. If this was fraud, I was legally responsible. She's been planning this for years, Marla said. The divorce isn't punishment. She pulled up another document. FBI Financial Crimes Database. Caroline's foundation was already flagged. It's containment. She needed you divorced before the investigation went public. That night, I sat in the motel room staring at the ceiling. Caroline hadn't just betrayed me. She'd weaponized our marriage. Used my name, my signature, my reputation. The divorce papers weren't revenge. They were an exit strategy. And I was her insurance policy. I opened my laptop, started typing. Tomorrow, I'd become her worst nightmare. But tonight, I planned. Cold, methodical, patient, the way I'd learned to investigate fraud. Except this time, the criminal was sleeping in my bed. Marla hired the forensic accountant herself, Sarah Chen. Expensive, worth every penny. This is surgical, Chen said on day 1. We map every transaction, every timestamp. She worked fast, built a timeline spanning 3 years. Caroline's fraud wasn't random, it was systematic, calculated. She learned from the best, Chen said, glancing at me. That weekend, Marla filed the countersuit. Libel, false prosecution, defamation. No press release, no announcements, just legal precision. Monday morning, I sent the anonymous tip to the IRS Criminal Division, shell corporations, routing numbers, federal grant fraud, everything in a neat package. The phone call came Tuesday. Caroline's lawyer, Jeffrey Morrison, $800, 0 cents an hour voice. We need to settle this. What are you offering? Full dismissal. No financial claims. I paused. Let him sweat. I'll take $1. I'm sorry? $1. Symbolic victory. Caroline admits she lied. Morrison laughed. Are you insane? Think about it. He hung up. Wednesday, Chen found the smoking gun. A signature on a federal grant application. Lisa Chen. Different Chen, no relation. Lisa Chen had died 4 years ago, cancer. Someone had forged her signature last year, used her identity. The foundation received $75,000 0 cents in matching funds based on that document. Federal crime, Chen said. Big time. Thursday brought the first crack. Caroline's business partner, Michelle Torres, got a subpoena. By Friday, Torres had withdrawn from everything. Hired her own lawyer. Saturday? Future Leaders Foundation's website vanished, like it never existed. Caroline went silent. No calls, no emails, even her social media disappeared. Marla forwarded me a letter that week from Ohio, an elderly woman, Dorothy Klein, retired math teacher. She'd donated $1,200, 0 cents to Future Leaders Foundation. Her granddaughter wanted to be an engineer. I trusted the mission because of your name. That line burned into my memory. Dorothy had used her Social Security money, believed in helping young women, got nothing in return but a fake tax receipt. I highlighted that sentence, showed Marla. There are dozens more, she said. Small donors, trusting people. Caroline hadn't just stolen from me. She'd stolen from retirees, teachers, People who believed. That was her mistake. I don't just investigate fraud. I take it personally. The panic came 2 weeks later. Jeffrey Morrison's email arrived at 11 p.m. Subject line, urgent. We need to talk immediately. Caroline's situation has escalated. His voice shook when he called. The federal agents came today. Which ones? IRS, FBI, Department of Education. I stayed quiet. They have everything, documents, bank records, digital forensics. That's unfortunate. Daniel, you don't understand. This is criminal. I know. Silence. She's asking for a deal. Tell her I already offered one. $1. She laughed. This is serious. So was divorce papers at my mother's funeral. Morrison's breathing was audible. What do you want? Truth, public accountability, and Dorothy Klein's money back. Who's Dorothy Klein? Find out. I hung up. That night I walked to the harbor, watched ships cross Elliott Bay. Caroline had whispered, "You bury one thing today at Mom's funeral." She was right. I'd buried my trust, my patience, my willingness to stay quiet. What grew in its place was something colder, something calculated, something that would see this through to the end. The federal case was out of my hands now. Law enforcement would handle it. But Caroline had made it personal when she'd destroyed innocent people's trust. When she stole from Dorothy Klein, that mistake would cost her everything. The federal case hit the news on a Wednesday. Channel 7 led with it. Foundation fraud rocks, Seattle nonprofit world, IRS, FBI, Department of Education, joint investigation. Caroline's face appeared on screen, smiling at a charity gala. Before. Grant. Fraud. Forged signatures. Federal charges pending. I watched from my motel room, turned up the volume. The reporter listed the charges. Wire fraud, identity theft, tax evasion, millions of dollars. Fake board members, dead signatures. Know what the worst part was? They found dozens of small donors, retirees, teachers, regular people. 4 states. Same pattern. Trust, hope, exploitation. Dorothy Klein's story broke Friday. Local Ohio news picked it up. Then national. She used our daughter's dreams for her own greed. Dorothy's face on television. Soft voice. Broken trust. I believed in helping young women, in futures, in hope. The reporter asked about the $1,200, 0 cents. It was my Christmas fund, for my granddaughter's college savings. She'd been one of 37 similar victims, all women, all retired, all betrayed. Caroline's arrest happened at the Fairmont Olympic Hotel Foundation luncheon. Women building tomorrow theme, ironic. Federal agents waited until dessert. Perp walk past champagne glasses. The Seattle Times noted something interesting. Ork, the ex-husband, declined all interview requests. No statements, no quotes, no vindication speeches, just silence. Marla handled the media differently. She appeared on the Legal Eagles podcast. Calm, professional. This case demonstrates financial predation targeting marginalized communities. The defendant exploited trust, weaponized hope. The interviewer asked about Daniel. My client maintains his privacy. His evidence spoke instead. That week, the libel suit settled. Caroline's insurance company paid. Full retraction, damages. $400,000, 0 cents. I donated every cent to Girls Who Code. Real organization, verified, no publicity, no press release, just a simple wire transfer. The final surprise came Tuesday. Marla called. Laughing, actual humor. You'll love this part. The car. My Subaru. The one Caroline took from the funeral. It was leased under Future Leaders Foundation, federal asset forfeiture, automatic repossession. But here's the kicker. They'd found a GPS tracker inside. FBI had been monitoring Caroline's movements for months. Every lunch, every meeting, every lie. She'd driven my car to her own surveillance. I hung up, almost smiled. Caroline had whispered, "You bury one thing today." She was right. I'd buried my old life, my trust, my quiet acceptance. What emerged was different, colder, more precise. She'd taught me something valuable. Revenge isn't hot. It's not dramatic. It's patient, methodical, legal. It's watching someone destroy themselves with their own arrogance. Caroline wanted control, manipulation, secret power. Instead, she got federal prison, while Dorothy Klein got her money back. That felt like justice. Not revenge, justice. The news cycle moved on. Caroline's story faded. But I remained. Quiet, observant, changed. No longer the man who'd nodded silently at his mother's grave. Someone new. Someone who remembers every whisper, every betrayal, and knows exactly what to do about them. I moved to Oregon 6 months later. Small cabin, dense forest, no neighbors for miles, remote consulting work, insurance fraud, steady pay. The silence felt right. Mornings I hike the old logging trails, listen to wind through Douglas firs. Evening reads by woodfire. Philosophy, history. Nothing about crime. Seattle feels like someone else's life now. The mail comes twice a week. Rural delivery. Never any surprises. Caroline's trial concluded in December. 18 years federal. I didn't attend. Didn't need to. The headlines said everything necessary. Marla sends updates occasionally. Brief texts. Foundation assets liquidated. Victims' fund distributed. Dorothy Klein bought her granddaughter a laptop. Al party satisfied. That's enough. Last week I found something while packing old files. A document I'd kept. Evidence from the investigation. The forged grant application. Lisa Chen's fake signature. Lisa Chen, dead, 4 years, cancer. Caroline had stolen her name, her identity, her memory. For money. I remember Caroline's whisper at Mom's funeral. You bury one thing today. She was wrong about who was burying what. I hadn't buried anything. She had buried her own truth. Her real face. Publicly. Permanently. Completely. The world saw what she really was. I light the wood stove. Old ritual now. Hold the forged document above the flames. Lisa Chen's signature, stolen dignity, federal fraud. I drop it in, don't watch it burn. Instead, I put the kettle on. Earl Grey, simple pleasure. Sit on the porch, listen to wind. Oregon wind sounds different than Seattle rain. Cleaner, honest. The ashes settle in the stove. Mix with yesterday's fire. Caroline is somewhere else, locked away, living consequences. I'm here, free, quietly satisfied. No one visits, no one calls. The solitude suits me. Sometimes hikers pass, nod politely, keep walking. That's enough human contact. I've learned something valuable. Revenge isn't about heat, about satisfaction. It's about truth. Patient truth. Letting people see what was always there. Caroline had worn a mask for years. I didn't tear it off. I just waited. She removed it herself. Publicly, spectacularly, irreversibly. The tea steams, point picks up. Somewhere, Dorothy Klein's granddaughter studies engineering. Somewhere else, Caroline stares at concrete walls. Both consequences of choices. Both forms of justice. I sip the tea. Watch stars appear. Tomorrow, I'll hike again. Read again. Live quietly. No Caroline, no Seattle, no past. Just forest. Peace. Truth. The kind of life you build after someone tries to bury you and discovers you're not that easy to dig. The fire crackles. Wind whispers through trees. I pour another cup. Listen to the silence. It sounds like freedom.